You know what I mean? I think the Lions can right now hang their hat on, man. Doom and gloom on the injury front, but I do think we got a couple things going for us. I watched that game yesterday, and not that I'm comparing the Lions to the Chiefs at all, but I don't see any stellar. The Lions was really the only team that was out there scoring 50 on people anyway to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So our offense is still intact, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it. I just think if the Lions could uh control the game still with their offensive line, I think that what will be where we need to be. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about winning it all later. The first step this team's got to do is lock this division up. You know what I'm saying? Which they can still do despite the injuries. You know what I'm saying? Every week we get on here talking about injuries, man. It's been crazy how it's just been one area of this team that the injury bug has hit us. Now, you're hearing reports that Broderick Martin is already back in the fold. He played on Thanksgiving, sparingly, but you're hearing Manny Mosley's name out there. But it could be back soon. Carlton Davis, you would assume Carlton's going to probably play next Thursday. You know what I'm saying? That's a guy we're going to get back. But the overall part of this team, like even Makai Wingo's been hurt on that defensive line. I think that's a guy I was thinking about, like who do we have on this roster, man, that could maybe play a little bit of DN, you know what I mean, if needed in some spots to help Zadarius out. And he's the guy that comes in my mind. He's young enough. He's undersized, but he has a little bit of wiggle to him. You know what I'm saying? He is three technique guy. Is he three technique, Walt? Could he put his hand in the dirt, and can he do both? I don't know.
It's man.
He did it
Don't
at
get don't even get me started on it, man. It's we at a point in
yeah,
time in the season right now where the injury bug has beat down that front seven so bad to the point where we got guys like Muhammad, who's been here the last couple years
yeah,
doing preseason, doing training camp. He's coming out having to have some sort of impact to help out those two defensive tackles on
yeah,
the interior. But I think that the key issue, man, and we touched on this during the offseason, Broderick Martin, outside of DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil, Broderick is pretty much the only mean it, especially with Bugs being gone and a couple other guys being gone. To Kaminsky,
yeah,
even though Kaminsky, he's not truly an interior presence,
yeah,
he's a guy that can bounce outside and give you some value in other
yeah,
spots along the defensive line. But outside of DJ, outside of Aleem, all we really have size and athleticism wise perceived, because that's all it is right now with him because he hasn't played much in his first year and a half, is Broderick Martin. I
yeah,
think Broderick's a guy that it may be unfair to him and his growth, but at the end of the day, you've been within the organization and this system and this training for a year and a half now.
yeah,
Granted, he hasn't played all season. He barely played last season. We need Broderick to step up and become something because he's the only other guy with size along that defensive line that we hope have some durability. This is one of the downsides to going with a smaller, more versatile, athletic defensive line. They wear
yeah,
down throughout the season. We watched the Philadelphia Eagles 2 years ago before the Super Bowl. That was a damn good football team. That defensive line was smallish, athletic, outside of Fletcher Cox,
yeah,
but they wore down. It's like having a basketball team that's dominated by a point guard. It may work 60 games out the regular season, 70 games, but by the time you get to the playoffs and you start talking about 7-game series, playing twice a week, the intensity is reached a whole new high.
yeah,
Typically, point guard dominated teams, what happened? They falter down the stretch in the playoffs. It's too much weight. It's too much of a physical game for a point guard to be the guy to carry you like that. And when you look at our defensive tackles, Pascal, you're talking about Makai Wingo, Levi and Wuzarike. These are all guys who are like tweeners. The
yeah,
guys that can play. They have the requisite skill set somewhat to play three tech and some four, but they're not that consistently. And we need help along the defensive line. That's why a lot of teams, especially our Detroit Lions, I think they really favor bigger old school defensive ends. You look at Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden is 6'6", what, 280?
Hmm.
Davenport, around that same exact size. They like those types of defensive ends because those types of defensive ends tend to hold up longer throughout the stretch of the season. So I think that's something that has to get addressed over this offseason. We're going to get into that in a later video, but I think the overall size of this defensive line has to improve because DJ Reader suffered with a shoulder injury, I believe, in the second quarter of that game, but he continued to come back and play.
He
So,
came back.
yeah, if we looking at it, man, like this is a very long list. Where is it? I
Hmm.
think I had it up here. This is a very long list, man. And starting with like Manuel Mosley, this is something that's become
Yeah.
very frustrating. I would never get
Hmm.
mad at somebody for being hurt. You think he goes out there and hurts himself because he doesn't want to play? Him and Melifonwu, like these
Yeah.
are two
Very
players that we
frustrating. Yeah.
severely need right now, man.
Yeah, my Famo
Severely
can help
need.
as a linebacker. You know what I'm saying? He could help. You know what I mean? He big, got that
He
big
can help
body.
in the box. Yeah.
Yeah. um, so hopefully, like you said, man, maybe those guys are gonna be close to coming back. Right now, the injury report is tight lip right now, unless it came out. Obviously, Malcolm Rodriguez out for the season, man. It just that's a killer right there, man. Because Malcolm did his job, man, and Malcolm is a guy you can't find them guys. And the Lions drafted this guy, and Aaron Glenn liked him from the start, from the minute he's been on the team, man. And I think that's going to be a loss because a guy with that just you can coach him and he gets better and better. You know what I'm saying? Every year, knows his role, doesn't bitch about complaining, playing time or anything like that. Last year, he was kind of non-existent, right? He did get a key interception in that 49ers game. I remember that. Stayed there and barely played last year, but he waited till he got his number called this year. Malcolm was great, man, this year. So I hope they bring Malcolm Rodriguez back. I don't know if he's still got a year left on his contract or anything like that. I know he's been here 3 years now. So I hope Malcolm Rodriguez, speedy recovery. One of my favorite, Rodrigo was part of like the building blocks for me. You know what I mean? Getting his team back to respectability. And it's unfortunate, man, because
He's
like I
one of
said,
those glue guys on the
yep,
team that,
yep.
you
And I
know,
think he's gonna be a guy that we feel because we haven't felt like really a loss yet. And I think that now a guy like that's gonna be a guy that you're gonna feel it.
I definitely think you bring Malcolm back.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Malcolm's
absolutely.
earned it, man.
Yep.
Regardless of how people may view Malcolm Rodriguez overall,
Yeah.
physically as a talent, does he have the requisite size and skill set? No.
Yeah.
Did he run the fastest 40? No. Was his three cone the best? No. Did he come from a big time powerhouse in college? No. He's just one of those guys that he's a football player.
Yeah. Yep.
For lack of a better phrase, man, he's one of those glue guys who, okay,
Mhm.
three guys went out in front of you. You can give us some help in coverage. You
Yeah.
also play well downfield. You're also strong enough to hold your own to the middle of the field within the box. He's a good football player. Is he a guy that you want starting necessarily? If we ran a consistent 3-4, I would have no issue with Malcolm. No issue with Malcolm being a starter, but he's just not an everyday. He's another guy. Physically, they wear down. He's a
Yeah.
fan favorite, but they wear down, and this is a defense that needs to find some more size, I think,
Mhm.
over the offseason within that front seven.
Yeah. Yeah. Facts, Walt. You're absolutely
But
right.
what are your thoughts on Mosley, man?
I mean, Mosley's a guy. I mean, while I haven't expected much, I haven't seen him. You know what I mean? I don't expect anything from Manny Mosley. I mean, to be honest, I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. It's just I haven't seen him play to even count on it. You know what I'm saying? So I would love, like you said, I would love to see him out there. But I mean, just hearing the name and not playing, then that's like, that it's a moot point at this. I think he can help, like you said, in situational opportunities on defense, of course. You know what I mean? But right now, it's just like he's not even on the team to me because I haven't seen him play. You know what I mean? So
No, I get
I
it. I get it. That's kind of like that's a head coach's mentality towards it. Like, man,
yeah,
don't ask me about nobody that ain't out there on the field. Don't ask me
mm,
about nobody that ain't out there helping us right now. And I think
right.
they got love for Mosley. If they didn't, they
Yeah, of
wouldn't have brought him
course.
back. I think he works hard, but It gets to a point where injury is not your fault, but something's going on because you see that routinely around the league. Was there's just certain players that are just never ever healthy.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
when we had Malcolm on the show, not Malcolm Rodriguez, but Malcolm, a close friend of the podcast, the San Francisco 49ers content creator, he
Yeah.
said the same thing about Mosley, that when he was in San Francisco, he was a hell of a player, but he was just never healthy.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point where if we can't depend on you, we can't just keep bringing you back because we want to just keep giving you a chance after chance after chance. Like, we
Yeah.
need people out there right now that can help us. And you going out there in warm ups, and we're hearing quote unquote something popped. Like,
Hmm.
it's enough of this, man. And then you and Melifonwu both came back in the 21-day period at the same exact time,
Yeah.
and both got set right back. Now Melifonwu, they said he may not be ready, eligible to play for like another 3 games. So
Hmm. That's
who
the
knows,
guy.
man?
Yeah, now that's Melifon was kind of frustrating. Now I've got we all got a track record on Melifon. You know what I'm saying? We know he can make an impact. You know what I'm saying? That's the guy. Excuse me, for me, that especially in the middle of the field. Like you said, box safety. That's exactly what we need right now. You know what I mean? And right now it sucks because he's not available again. You know what I mean? Now it was like we got by with what we had, and now it's like we need this guy to come back. Like I said, more so than Mosley to me. I think because Melifonwu brings the physicality that I like. You know what I'm saying? That can really, help this team. So, man, hopefully this is what I'm thinking. Where what I think is probably going to happen is, let these next couple games play out. You know what I'm saying? And first things first, we got to wrap up the division. That's number one. You know what I'm saying? Like we were talking yesterday, if the Lions beat the Packers, the division is wrapped up damn near. You know what I'm saying? It's a huge game next week, even though we're going to talk about the Bears game. But just going moving forward, the first thing, people shouldn't even be talking the big game in February right now. It's like we so far from that right now and other things that has to happen right now for this team, especially the predicament that we're in. Only thing, like I said, I'm gonna hang my hat on this. The offense is fine. You know what I mean? Yeah, they only scored 23 points. Had some stuff happen, kind of some weird. It was a weird game, but
It was sort of what we expected, though.
yeah,
You and I talked about that before the show. We expected a typical Bears Lions type of matchup, and that's what we got.
yeah, yep. Because Goff, he was Jared Goff. 2 touchdowns. 200 and. I don't have it in front of me, but I know it was over 250, 260 yard wise. You know what I'm saying? He had a good game. So, and people, I had some people saying, why would he throw the ball in the dirt a couple times? But that's been, this whole team has ran on scheme, timing, what's being practiced. It's not a lot of things that's going off script with the Lions. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're very well coached. And if you tell me to run 15 yards and turn around, that's what I better be doing. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not doing that, you're not playing for this team. You know what I'm saying? And I think anything off script, Golf ain't going off script, man. You know what I'm saying? And if the timing, if when he's ready to throw the rock, that guy's either got to be open, got to get his man beat. He got to be in route. You know what I'm saying? It's no ad libbing with Golf. And we know that. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine. I mean, you could still win that way. But I'm just hearing people just getting frustrated with the throws in the dirt because if you look down the field, it's like, man, you got a guy wide open. Why the hell are you throwing it in the dirt? But that's the play. You know what I'm saying? That's the play. And that's, what Golf is sticking to. You know what I mean? So those plays didn't really bother me. I thought, the fumble by Gibbs, which he didn't see the guy coming late. It was a very good
And
hit.
it was a great play, great
Yeah, it
play.
was a great play by the defender. Yeah, and Gibbs, he took care of the ball. I mean, he hasn't had any fumbles this year, if I'm not mistaken. I think Montgomery had a couple fumbles against the Vikings, but yeah. So I think if that didn't happen, I think we'd have scored. Obviously, we was going to score that drive. If you just look back at the game in general, but yeah, like you said, and then let's give Caleb Williamson credit, man, for everybody that want to laugh and talk about the Bears, which they totally did the right thing by firing Eberflus. I thought it was unbelievable. Like how you get away with just like ruining the game, which I'm gonna take credit. I don't care what the Bears do. I hope they keep on blowing games. But what I'm saying is just looking at it for a Caleb Williams perspective, you know what I mean? It was like, dude, you had your quarterback just scrambling by himself out there. It didn't even help the guy. You know what I'm saying? And it was like so obvious, so everybody could see it. And now the players are coming out starting to say things, and obviously you got to roll with who your coach is, but it's clearly like Eberflus wasn't a favorite of the players. You know what I'm saying? And they were just going out there actually playing, but they're the ones that goes out and play. But it was crazy how that whole game, the sequence, just I think a lot of things happened on that last drive. Walt, remember I was telling you I didn't like how they were constantly Caleb Williams was constantly going to the middle of the field with no Rodriguez and Jack Campbell in the slot. Now he got it, and then the field was wide open, and it looked like to
Yeah,
me
yeah.
the Lions of 2 years ago that couldn't cover a tight end. You know what I'm saying? It's back to that now because everybody's hurt now. So
I think
uh,
some of it had to do with
excuse me.
uh yeah. So I think some of it had to do with playing that prevent defense a little bit, not wanting to let Adunze or DJ Moore get behind the defense for the most part. They wanted to keep everything in front of them, rally to the football, make sure Caleb has to exactly matriculate down the field and doesn't get any big plays. So that's why they kept giving up those third down conversions on the drive. They were, aiming to keep everything in front of them. I think that if you would have told me, okay, so Chicago got the ball with 4 minutes left, if I'm not mistaken, with the way they were moving the football, and then you look at the Vildor penalty, the PI on Vildor, which put them at our 29-yard line. If you would have told me they would have walked out of that drive with 0 points, I would have thought you was lying. The way that entire sequence, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, developed was unacceptable, man. And to hear that it was reported Caleb Williams checked into that final play, well, that's even more disrespectful then.
Mm-hmm.
If your rookie quarterback pretty much said, screw putting the game in your hands as the head coach,
Yeah.
I'm going to check into what I want to check into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as the head coach, you sat back and you allowed that to transpire with your
Yeah.
rookie quarterback.
Well, that's
But
what a
you can't do
timeout.
anything anyway because your hands are tied because you a lame duck head coach. What you gonna do? Chastise Caleb Williams? You gonna
Mm-hmm.
bench him?
Yeah.
You
Right.
can't do nothing. It was a complete lack of respect, I think, for Eberflus.
Yeah.
Honestly, I agree with you. I think the players was done with him.
Mm-hmm.
They had experienced so many failures with this man in the fourth quarter. Not just Caleb this year, but this same core of players
Yeah.
from
Yep.
last year. So it was
Yep.
to a point where,
Justin
man,
Fields.
listen,
Yeah.
we're not even giving this dude the opportunity to screw this up. We about to
Mhm.
do this. If we fail, screw it. We
Yeah.
fail,
So be it. Right. Right.
but
We
we not
already.
giving him the opportunity to screw us up again.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and exactly what happened is they was inches away. Hey, he overthrew Odunze just a little bit. That ball was on point, man. You know what I'm saying? He
I got
almost
kind of
did it.
scared, dog.
Yep. He almost.
When that ball got to traveling, I got kind of scared
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
second.
Caleb was ball. I give Caleb credit. He played good. I thought Caleb when he showed me something. Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? But as far as our team goes, it was some positive. I like that. Zadarius was getting some pressure in there, and Bears got
Yeah,
they got a
yeah,
decent offensive line, man, and it's not like some scrubs back there. So he did all right. Reader was great. Him and McNeil again. Those guys are
phenomenal.
phenomenal. That sack, that shoestring sack on Caleb Williams was great. I thought for DJ got in there. Um, yeah, Vildor. It just flashes. I just don't like that he's out there, man. That he's the one guy that bothers me. It's just like
But you already know when he
he
out
can't
there, that
cover,
means
man.
it's injuries.
Yeah,
Whenever he's out there, there's injuries, man.
yeah. Vildor can't cover. He can't cover anybody, man. You know what I'm saying? For everybody that wants to
But he's
crap
got
on
grit.
Terry Arnold and everything like that. Hey, listen, Terry Arnold going strive for strive with them boys out there.
Oh
Period.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Terrion competing. He
So
okay with
you
me.
right. So you can say what you want about him, but you keep going with Vildor. You know what I'm saying, and see how that's going to turn out. And Caleb was smart enough where he was at least finding the weakness, finding the soft spot, finding, in that game in that last drive. Like I said, he was finding a soft spot. He was
We talked
getting
about
it.
that last week with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah,
He was out there seeking them out. Hey,
Yeah,
where's that dude that had the football bounce off his face mask last year?
yeah, you're right, right,
We throwing at him
right. That's right,
all day.
right. And man, and it's like I said, I'm not worried. What's up, Casey? What's up, Mile Marker? Yeah, everybody, Michael, and Ralphie. What's going on, bro? I felt like that too. I feel like this game, we kind of had to go through the motions and win this game. Like you said, regardless of how crappy it was or how much in the mud, quicksand we looked like we was in. Listen, it was 4 day. We had what 2 days of rest basically. We had to practice. Not that I'm giving excuses because these are NFL players. They you know what I'm saying, but it's a lot. It's a lot of wear and tear in their bodies, man. I think a bye week will serve these guys good. You know what I'm saying? I think a game against the Packers and then you get 10 days off is going to be huge. I saw this is a huge game coming up because if they win this game and you get 10 days off until until you play Buffalo, I mean that's incredible. That's
Yeah.
what the doctor ordered for this team. You know what I'm saying? So
12 wins pretty much locks you into the playoffs. Now,
yeah, we
what
can gut
seeding you
this one
don't
out.
know.
Exactly. If we can gut this win out, even though the injuries got us in shambles on defense right now, if we can somehow gut this win out against the Packers, man, we're looking good, Walt, with 4 to play. You know what I'm saying? We're looking good right now. It may be if we may have to keep playing until week 18. I was trying to figure out any scenario if we could wrap this thing up early. And what sucks is Minnesota keep winning, man. The Packers keep winning. It's like they're delaying everything because they keep winning. Like the Packers, um,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's like they beat the Dolphins, they keep winning. You know what I'm saying? Like the Vikings this week tomorrow they play the Cardinals. Huge game. The Cardinals leading that division in the West. They got to win. So, um,
Yeah,
I
Cardinals
don't.
sitting there with 6 wins right now.
Yeah, 6-5 in that West, and they're only one game ahead. One game separates them. The Seahawks, the Rams, and the 49ers. So all those teams are still in it. You know what I'm saying? The Lions could probably put the Niners out of their misery when that game comes up. Even though that's a lot that's got to happen before then. But um, I mean, what was your initial thought? Like, did you feel like I'm talking about the Bears? Like, did you feel like? Let me ask you this: was it more so we survived that game, or was it more so the Bears took? You know what I'm saying? Did they really Did they mess it up so bad that we actually really didn't deserve to win the game, or was it just like this is what happens? We we
No,
we escaped with a win. You know what I mean? That type of thing. I don't think that the Bears, even if they, let's just say was my thinking, even if they cooked the field goal and made it and got the field, I didn't feel like the Lions was still going to lose the game. I just thought offensively we'd get our act together and score. That's how I felt about
no, I just felt like it was going back to what we said before the game. It was a typical Lions Bears type of game. It doesn't
it.
matter who the quarterback is. It doesn't matter who the offensive lineman is. Doesn't matter who the head coach, the OC, DC is, who the starting defensive tackle is.
Yeah,
Lions Bears tend to have these types of games. That's how I viewed it. It was a divisional
yeah,
opponent. The Bears, they played the Washington Commanders very tight. That's the team that's in the playoffs right now. They played Green Bay very tight. That's the team that's in the playoffs right now. They played the Vikings very tight.
hmm
Um, they played some very solid football this year with a rookie quarterback under center. And the thing is, you would expect your head coach to be the difference in all of that. Now, Eberflus probably had no business getting that job. They gave him the job after the last dude was set down. Probably should have moved on from him over the offseason. So you kind of wasted Caleb Williams' initial year in the league. So there's going to be a lot of things to undo.
yeah,
Whoever the next head coach is that goes into Chicago, he's got his work cut out for himself. But I do believe they got themselves a quarterback.
hell
I
yeah,
think Caleb's a gamer. I think Caleb's got a big arm.
hmm
Caleb can make each and every throw you need him to make out there on the field.
yeah,
They just don't run the ball consistently enough. The offensive line isn't good enough right now, and then the head coach, of
hmm
course, he's spoiled a lot of games for them this season. This is a team that could easily have at least 7 more win, not 7 more, but they could
have
at least
seven
have
wins,
7 wins right now.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah. So I just think that is never apologize for winning.
No, of course not.
Never
Nah,
apologize for
nah,
winning. You know what
nah.
I'm saying? We went out there, we jumped out on them early. They weren't able to get things done midway through the second to third quarter, which kind of killed them, I think, ultimately in the end. But I agree. I felt
Mm.
like even if the Bears would have kicked the field goal, they still probably would ultimately end up losing in overtime to us.
Yep, yep. They had
Yep.
the momentum. They did. They looked good the whole second half. Actually, it was like the Lions couldn't really get what they wanted done. But I, like you said, I just felt that we would have just got done what we had to do and win the game. Period. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been few and far between. Like I was watching the Bears, like we all were watching the Bears, like kind of dominate the second half. I think that might have been the first time all year that I seen a team actually kind of get some momentum on us and score like that. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Look at all the games that maybe the Rams and then Tampa game we lost. You know, I remember Baker Mayfield
How
had a
much of it you
phenomenal
thought was
second
due
half.
to injuries, though?
I
Like
mean,
if
I
we'd have been healthy, we probably would have smashed the Bears.
yeah, of course, I get that. I get that, man. And you right about that. But it just comes to a point to where when you're a good team, and I think super random and stupid just said it. When you're a good team, it doesn't matter like who's ever on the other side. It really doesn't sometimes, man. Because if you feel you're gonna win the game, all bets are off. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I was just gonna say, Ralphie, same thing with Houston. It was the same type of thing. It was like Houston kind of had their way at some spurt, at some minutes during the game, like 10, 11 minutes. You could say, oh, well, Houston outplayed the Lions, but it was like it still wasn't good enough, man. You know what I mean? It was like we're so better than the team across from us. It's like they have to play flawless for 48 minutes. And if you don't put together a complete team against us, I don't think they can lose. I think now you know what's going to happen this week. You already know it. Now we got all these injuries. If Philly beats the Ravens, oh boy, now we're gonna hear the Eagles are the better team, and the Eagles they're more healthy, and the Eagles are, and it just like what I'm saying. Now is the Eagles gonna be suddenly this team that the Lions can't beat all of a sudden? You know what I mean? Per the media,
Well, they've been waiting to build somebody up to go against us, man.
yeah,
That's all they've been
yeah,
waiting to do. The people of the national media who don't want to believe in us, they was waiting to build somebody up.
yeah,
I started hearing people talk about the Washington Commanders and
yeah,
Jaden Daniels and the mobile quarterback and Dan Quinn and his defense, and they was gonna beat us. And
yeah.
like it's and Green Bay supposed to beat us because Jordan Love is better than Jared Goff, and the
Mm-hmm.
Vikings supposed to beat us because Brian Flores' defense was supposed to suffocate us, and we were supposed to got shut out. And
Yeah,
I don't buy it, man. Look,
yeah.
I am worried. I will say this, man. If you ask me
Mm-hmm.
on a scale of 1 to 10 how worried about this team I am down the stretch, I would put it at about a 6.
Yeah, I
Simply
was gonna say
because I
five.
think that simply because I just think that playing the numbers game,
Yeah,
you can't just keep beating teams and losing people. Like it
yeah,
don't happen that way.
yeah.
Like we're not gonna trot out there our four string players and three or four
Right.
defensive linemen or linebackers who are just sitting off the street a couple weeks ago and just keep beating teams. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if this team manages to finish the regular season with just one loss, like I told you before the other day, maybe they're just an imperial team this year. But I
Yeah.
do agree. I think the Packer game, we have to figure out a way. I don't care if it's 13-10. I don't care if it's
Mhm.
24-23.
Yeah, you got
We
to
got to
win that
figure out a
game.
way to win that game for
Yep.
our own playoff health.
Yeah.
Get to 12 wins, and we get to 12 wins before December. Actually, it'll be if
Yeah.
we can get to 12 wins the first week of December and sweep Green Bay, we stand a damn good chance of winning this division and moving
Mhm.
towards the number one seed because Baltimore, and we're gonna get into that game in a little while. Baltimore get to play those Eagles this weekend. So we're
Mhm.
gonna be rooting for the Baltimore Ravens this weekend as well.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah. Yep.
what do you
You're
think
right.
about Jamo, man? I wanted to get to that real quick.
I,
I was
I,
heated myself.
yeah. It was funny what he did. It was totally funny because he kind of shut. It was on microphone. My man Stevenson running his mouth. Blah blah blah. He, excuse me. He hit him right in the mouth, square in the mouth. Like keep your mouth shut. That type of thing. It was great. I hated it though. I just this guy, man. You can't. And I'm glad the Lions won because if they didn't, boy, he would be getting killed right now. You know what I'm saying? And the people that just already
That turned
seen,
out to be a drive killer for them offensively.
yeah, yep. Because after that, remember, Bears got the momentum, and then it was just like we might lose this game, because of that. I didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? It was funny, but at the same time, you see Antoine Randall well, which wasn't buying it. You know what I'm saying? And it showed you how they've been on Jamo's ass. You know what I'm saying? They not just letting them, for all the people that just say, oh, they're just not disciplining him and they're just letting him do whatever he wants and stuff like that. It's not true. You see Antoine Randall, it was noticeably upset. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, he gave
Whatever, Ralph. He did that. He did that on purpose, dog. He
yeah,
did that on purpose. And I knew
yeah,
he was going to do it because when he jogged past him the first time, when he went out of bounds to turn back around, he
yeah.
had the ball cuffed in his hand. And I'm looking like, don't do that shit.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't boot. Like, all
Yeah,
right,
I didn't like it just for the game. I don't care. These guys, they say worse stuff than that. I mean, anybody ever been to a game? Listen, they talk about each family member, everything. So you know what I'm saying. But you got to be able to know what situation you're in, man. I know it's a heat of the moment. I know it's easy for
right.
us because we're watching it. We're not in the heat of the moment. We're not playing, obviously. But man, you gotta be smarter than that. You do. You have to be because, like you said, we score on that drive, then the game probably don't be so erratic at the end because the game is at hand. You know what I'm saying? If we score a touchdown on that drive, you know what I'm saying. But I like that. I do think it is some maturity issues with JMO, and like I say, I'm the biggest one of the biggest supporters, and I think that the media, everybody wants to, say, well, it's people like us, like me, that support them, that support Jameson Williams, right? And they say, well, why are you guys supporting him when he constantly is doing things to, you know, push the envelope or over the boundaries or ever suspensions or however you want to do it? They say, well, why would you keep supporting that? Well, this is what I would say. I would say this, like it was the same thing. Like, remember when Rasheed Wallace came to the Pistons and it was sort of like he was a malcontent. They say he's uncoachable, he's wild, he's this, he's that. He flips the coaches off, this, that, and other. And it had no bearing on them winning or losing any. Well, it had us ultimately for us to win the championship. What I'm saying is sometimes you need guys, the talent overrides things. I mean, talent is a big proponent and sometimes what you need. Now, I'm not saying that you continuously just let them just continually just like give us the middle finger or, laugh on his way doing to whatever else he's doing. That's not what I'm saying. For this year, oh boy, you need Jay. I seen people say like sit him out the rest of the year, get rid of him. We don't need him to
No.
win. No, we need him this year. Now, draft time come around, then that's another story. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right now we need Jameson Williams. For everybody that says, well, we don't need him, we can know you do need him. You know what I'm saying? If he gets hurt, forget about it. You know what I'm saying? Forget
Oh
about
yeah.
like trying to do anything offensively. Once teams get a feel for what you're doing. But yeah, just to go back, just to answer your question real quick, I didn't like it, man. It was funny. I laughed because it was just because I hate the Bears and my man Terry. And I think that was the same guy. Wasn't he the same guy that gave up the Hail Mary too for the Bears? I think he was the guy that
Yeah.
was flipping the fans off, and yeah. So it just he ain't concentrating on football either. If everybody that wants to talk about Jamo, Tariq Stevenson,
He was on the sideline though. He was concentrating.
yeah, he blew the game. He blew the game against the Commanders, man. Tipped the
Hey
ball right in
man,
Noah Brown's hand. But
look, I'm gonna just say this, man. Um,
excuse me.
when it come down to it, and like football is completely different because football can change on one or two plays. The entire momentum can change on one or two plays.
Yeah,
That play, the penalty that got attached to it after he made that play, it led to a series of other things happening which killed that drive. It's not about, well, this guy did something to me, so I did something back, and it's not fair, and this and that. It's about the team. Can we trust that in the playoffs you won't do no stupid shit like that? I don't care
Mhm.
about what Stevenson did. Bro, come playoff time, are you gonna do something stupid like that and cost us 15 yards? I don't give a damn about what Stevenson did. It's about you. And you got to be smarter than this. And like Ralph said, it's that young shit. You got
Yeah.
to be smarter than this because it's real easy for defenses around the league, defensive backs around the league to develop a reputation about you. Oh, that boy Jameson Williams, he a little hothead. Just mess with him a little bit. He gonna do something stupid. You don't
Yeah.
want DBs around the league having that rep about you. And if you go back to earlier in the quarter, he almost screwed us early in the quarter because one of those DBs pushed him after the play was over. It pushed
Mm.
him, and he then flailed his arms all back and tried to run up and stick his chest all out in my man's face. And then Zeitler stepped in and had to stop him. Then it's
Mhm.
like, bro, chill out with the young stupid shit, bro.
Yeah.
For lack of a better phrase, I don't care about what nobody did to nobody. I don't
Yeah.
want you doing nothing stupid in the playoffs that could cost us.
Yeah.
If that play would have happened in the playoffs against somebody and it would have cost us 15 yards, would have pushed us back out of field goal range, and it would have led to a bunch of negative plays after that, you're right. He would have got a whole lot of hell for that, man.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
my whole thing, man. Ain't nobody else on the team doing that, so why are you doing it? Be cool. Chill out. That's my whole thing, man. Is be cool and chill out, man. And Ashanti having a couple issues right now, but yeah, I get it. What everybody's saying, man, is Stevenson. I don't think Stevenson pushed him. I think what I saw is that when Jamo went flying by, he did kind of give him the Jim Harbaugh, Jim Schwartz push when he tried to come in for the handshake and Jim pushed him on the back like get the hell on. He did kind of push him. I think that's what he did. But all you got to do is look over at him and say, look at the scoreboard. You could have dropped the football at his feet. But once you flip the ball back at him, whether the football would have hit him in the face or it would have hit him in the chest or whatever, they was gonna call it. Because the camera, the entire world saw everything that was transpiring, man. I just think that you gotta be smarter than that, man. You gotta be smarter than that. You putting yourself above the team, before the team, and I get it. It's the heat of battle. Dude's been mouthing out at you all day. You pissed off. You just made a play. You just went out of bounds. You on the opposing team sideline. Dude, keep talking mess. So you got to say something. You got to do something. All you had to do was just straight up say, "Hey, man, look at the scoreboard," and live it at that. All right, let's get to some of these comments. Mr. Morale 313 says, da, 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 da. Then it's good it happened now instead of in the playoffs. Good point. Good point. Good point. And I'm glad that got Ashanti back too because Randall L, man, and all of this happened on national TV on Thanksgiving. The whole world saw it. And this was something else, and Ashanti, me and you talked about. I didn't like it. Just shut up. Just shut up, bro. You wrong. You wrong. And once again, that goes back to that young mentality. Even though I'm wrong, you still gonna hear me out. No, I'm not gonna hear you out. What you did was wrong. It cost us a 15-yard penalty, and it led to our drive imploding. Go sit down. He's still mouthing off, throwing his hands all out in this. You saw Antoine Randall gave him that finger. No, he gave him that finger. Can't hear you. Yeah, Randall gave him that finger, like, boy, go sit down. And once he gave him that finger, Jamo turned around and, man, it's some bullshit. Can't hear you. Can't hear you right now. Lauren also says, it could have cost the Lions huge watching Jamo get roasted by No, it was Antoine Randall on the sidelines. Sometimes you just have to take it. That's my whole point. That's my whole point. I even tried to tell my son that. Like, you can't, and that's like I said, that's a teenager thing, that's a young person thing. They always feel like they gotta be heard. Even when they dead wrong, they still want to give you word for word and feel like they gotta explain themselves. Sometimes you just wrong. You wrong, take it, go sit down. Ralph also says, right, he becomes a target for seasoned defenders. Yeah. And we said the same thing about Brian Branch. Whether it's justified, fair or not, Brian Branch is getting targeted now by the NFL. and
That's
they think every time I can hear you now.
oh, okay.
In the NFL,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't want to put a target on your back, and that's what Jamo did. Now it's gonna become word around the league with DBs. Oh, that boy a hothead.
Yeah.
Pick with him a little bit. Push him
Yeah.
after the play. Hold him
Yeah.
down a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. And and like I said, I like the way because there's a perception out there that these guys get away with what they want, and it shows they clearly not, man. You know what I'm saying? It was like Randall was like, dude, you know, like you said. So that just shows you. And then Dan Campbell even said at the end of the game, he said his handle. You know what I mean? Basically,
Oh yeah, they
you
they
know,
I can only imagine.
yeah, Dan Campbell was smiling. He even smiled and said his handle. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's how we squash things on this team. And he's got guys in position. You think, Scotty Montgomery is not doing his job with these running backs. You know what I'm saying? You think Aaron Glenn's not doing his job with this defensive line, this defense, Ben Johnson on offense. It's just from top to bottom. I just think the coaching has been phenomenal. I think, and then that's a good way to shift gears to just talk about Al Quahir Muhammad, who's been playing great, man. You know what I'm saying? David Long didn't play much. I didn't see him out there, but
How
I think
huge is his signing now?
yeah, and I just seen the Lions pluck Jonah Williams from the Rams. I just seen that on their defensive line. He was on the practice squad, and I see the Lions just signed him. So that's again, that might be a guy maybe in a couple weeks. We might see a big strong kid on the defensive line too as well. Maybe can rush the passer a little bit. But I just think the coaching, I think that's what everybody really don't have to worry about us being like incompetent, like not coaching these guys the way to play the right. We always hear that term, play the right way, and I think that it holds firm with this team, man. You know what I'm saying? The only thing we can hang our hat on right now is our offense is intact. You know what I'm saying? Our offense, and we can score. We really can't. We didn't do it much Thursday, but I think we're gonna need Jared Goff against the Packers. We're gonna need Jared Goff in his offense against the Buffalo Bills. You know what I'm saying? So I think these are two games at home coming up. A lot of home cooking, holidays. I mean, man, we should feel right at home these next 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? You get 10 days off before you play Buffalo after having,
Right.
all kind of crazy injuries happen. That's gonna be huge for this team. That's gonna be like a mini break. You have 10 days off, until you play again, to let those wounds heal, to just get your mind reset, to just, the coaches, players get back on the same page. I think that's what we need more than anything. I just think we just need some time off, man, a little bit. You know what I mean? To just kind of
We talking about having pretty much a full month at home. Like
yeah.
Green Bay, you talking about the Green Bay game,
Yeah.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Who else? Who else is sandwiched in that? But
We,
after these three games, then you're talking about having to just travel to Chicago. So for the
and
players that still
49ers.
live here, yeah, for the players that still live here, you're talking about okay, for a full month, I don't have to hop on the plane. Even though I'm
Mhm,
pretty sure they still probably take a plane to Chicago just because it's quicker and they don't have to deal with the roads. But yeah, I mean,
mhm.
not having to travel is great for the health wise as far as the injuries concerned. It's great for the inflammation and whatnot. It's great
Yeah.
for the overall healing process. This team should be good. Um, Heading into the playoffs, my concern, like I said, is that this defensive line is undersized and it's been broken down. It's kind of tough. It's putting high expectations on Broderick Martin, but like I said, we need his help. You in the NFL right now got to put your big boy pants on. It doesn't matter that you haven't played since last year for the most part. Like we need you now. We need that 6'3", 320, 330 plus pounds in the middle of that defensive line because it's gonna get to a point where only for so long is DJ Reader gonna hold up. And he had an injury in that game and was able to tough it out and play through it. Aleem McNeil is gonna get to a point where what happens if one of those guys wears down?
Right.
But I think
That's right.
overall the defense, you got to figure out now, AG, and it's whether it's fair or not to him, he damn near has to reinvent his defense on the fly now.
Yeah. And he can do it.
13 weeks into the season because you got to figure out now what do you have? It's not so much about what you don't have. What do we have left? All right, well, we got two elite safeties on the back end, and we got two elite defensive tackles for the
Yeah.
time being. Just hopefully nothing happens to them. So the middle of our defense is fine. We just need to figure out the back end as far as the cornerbacks are concerned, because now we losing cornerbacks. So that's becoming a concern. That means guys like Mosley need to get their asses back. Guys like Melifonwu need to be back in another 3 weeks. The
Yeah,
linebacking core, that's been hit just as bad as the defensive ends. So we got to just figure out, okay, the safety play is fine. The defensive tackle play is fine as far as the two guys we got in the middle of the defense. How do we figure out what we do with what we have in the middle of all that? And how do we sustain things defensively? If they go out there with what they got now, missing the players they miss, and they beat Green Bay, I think you can
yeah,
wrap it up. I think you
yeah.
can wrap it up because something about me says that. I mean, I'm feeling that Bear game in another couple weeks might end up being a loss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
It just
I,
seems
I,
like that's the way
well,
the Bears play us every single year. Like they gonna be mad the way they was mad last year after the 14 points in 2 minutes. So the
mhm.
Bears gonna be mad. They're gonna feel like they got one. They let one
Yeah,
slip away. They're gonna be at home.
yeah,
It's all set up for that I think to be a game that we end up dropping. But even the Buffalo game, I think we're gonna be too up for Buffalo to have a down moment.
yeah,
Unless we just start losing people on offense all of a sudden. I think they're gonna be too amped for Buffalo. But the
yeah, yeah.
Green Bay game is key, man.
It's
It's massive.
huge. It's huge right now, and man, right. I even looked at it. Walt, the point spread as of right now is 5.5. The Lions are 5.5 point favorites, which I'm surprised. I mean, that you would think it'd be a little bit less than that, but it still shows you that the Lions got the cachet, man. You know what I'm saying? They're finding ways to beat people, so they still think that and obviously Malcolm Rodriguez is not going to determine if they make it to the Super Bowl or not. What I was simply saying was basically, you got another guy out there, sure tackler. You know what I'm saying? Him and Campbell. When they get there, they usually don't miss the tackle. You know what I'm saying? That's what I liked about Rodriguez, sure tackler. Jack Campbell, who's been tremendous, man, even more responsibility. But I think Jack up for that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's like Lauren just said. I just think that he's up for it. You know what I mean? And Jack Campbell's been phenomenal, man. And I even seen him taking control of this defense and calling play. You know what I'm saying? He telling these boys what we doing. You know what I'm saying? I think that was really impressive. I thought, for him to be in that role right now. So think about it. If Anzalone comes back, which I'm expecting, that's another feather in our cap. I think Anzalone would be a welcome sight. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, don't rush him back. We know we're in the playoffs. You don't have to, like you said, I just think we do have to really win two more games to kind of lock this thing up, division wise. Like I said, even if we maybe won, if we beat the Packers Thursday, then like you said, it'd be 12-1 and what 4-0 in the division or whatever it is, 5-0 in the division at that time. I mean, we don't. There's nothing really else to do in the division. Now, seeding is going to be the issue. That Philly Ravens game is going to be huge, man. We're watching Philly every week now. I mean, see what's going to happen with them. So I don't know if I can hear you, Walt. Yeah, I can't hear
Yeah,
you.
had the mute
Okay,
on.
I
I want to
can hear
get
you.
to Brian DeWitt's question, comment real quick, because I don't think he was on when we discussed this yet. I'm more concerned with Jamo's sideline argument with Coach Antoine Randall. Didn't MCDC bench him after that? If I'm not mistaken, did we get a possession after that? Because the drive, he didn't play. He didn't
Excuse me.
play those next two plays after that.
Yeah,
But I don't
yep,
even think
that's
we
what I
got a
stated.
possession after that.
No, no, he's
Yeah.
right. He did get benched, but it was only for a couple plays. You know what I'm saying?
Now I
Personnel
think they
wise.
would have, if they would have had a whole nother possession, I think he probably wouldn't have played. Because it gets to a point where, man, listen, you can't. Nobody else on the team is doing this. So what makes you think we're gonna let you do it?
That's
Not
why I
to
don't.
single you out like that, but let's be real. Nobody else is doing this. So what makes you think we're gonna let your ass do this?
Right,
All
right.
on the sideline. You wrong. You wrong clear as day. I don't care. This is the whole thing. Like I keep going back to. It doesn't matter what Stevenson did. You responded and you got us a penalty that
Yeah,
pushed us back. I don't care what Stevenson did. Like you screwed this whole situation up. And tossing a football at somebody face don't prove you tough. and you did it running away. Like that's why my whole thing is like that doesn't prove attitude. That doesn't prove you tough. That doesn't prove you bad. It just proves that somebody can get in your ear
Mm-hmm.
and can force you to do something to put you above the team, bro. Like I
Yep.
said, tossing the football in somebody's face don't prove nobody tough.
Mm-hmm.
You just did something that cost us.
Excuse me.
That's it. You did something
Yeah.
that cost us. And what has they said about Jamo for the last 3 years? We need to be sure we can trust you.
I think
That's the
that
whole thing, man. And
I
we
think
we
that
can't
that
have
part.
nothing crazy.
I was just gonna say, I think that part is kind of teetering right now. I think that it is. I mean, when you see a coach and player blow up like that, I think it is a big deal. I really do. I think it happens a lot. Saying a lot more than it's shown on TV. You know what I'm saying? In a heat of the moment type thing. But if, like I said, if I had to just take a guess, like I said, I don't know anybody inside of the organization other than all of our affiliates that we deal with, outside of the organization. I would say it's about, if I had to say one to 10, if they tired of his shit, I would say they probably 7 or 8 right now. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not what our team is predicated and built on. You know what I'm saying? We got, like you said, guys, nobody else is doing that on this team, period. You know what I mean? Like, and it
And
was
it
like,
looks the optics look makes it looks even worse when you the one that's doing it.
yeah. And then what, see, I always like to look at the offense. Like, people, people in the media, social media, and the media, sports media in general, they build you up to tear you down, man. I believe that. You know what I'm saying? They build you up to tear you down. They think, especially if you're an athlete, you're supposed to be perfect. Certain guys has got certain more boundaries than the next guy. I believe that. I believe success has got a lot to do with it. If you're a successful player, you get away with a lot more shit. You know what I'm saying? If your name is, I'm not that I'm just saying, just say Tom Brady, right? If he, you know what I'm saying, if you Tom
Toss the
Brady,
football in Terrion Arnold
yeah,
face.
yeah, no one would say anything. They would not say, yeah, he shouldn't have been talking to the GOAT, that type of thing, right? So now you got Tom,
Brady showing swag.
right. But you got Jameson Williams, kind of malcontent. Nobody kind of like, he young, he got to pay his dues. Dude, you should be doing that. Now does have a track. Now the betting thing. Now how much? Because I always try to give people grace, man, and look at the offense if it's within reason, right? Especially with sports, because it's not life or death or anything like that. We talking about sports, but okay, this first offense, betting on company property, right? On the facility property. I mean, is that really something to say? You know what, this guy, I can't stand the guy because of that. Is that really something to really just?
Wasn't it women's college basketball too?
Yeah, what I'm saying, but what I'm
Yeah.
saying is betting. Really, we all betting. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he didn't know. You know what I'm saying? That part of it. Okay, the things that him going out, with the gun thing, get put out. That was stupid. That was totally stupid.
It's a
You know what
lack
I'm
of
saying?
awareness overall with him.
Yeah.
In
Now
all
I
these
ain't giving.
situations, his lack of awareness, even the situation that happened yesterday, his grasp of what's going on at that particular time, and his lack of awareness is hurting him.
Yeah, because if I'm a gun CPL holder. I mean, if you just get your CPL, bro. I mean, that's all it is. And to me, it wouldn't even be a non-issue if he's got a CPL, that type of thing. So that part of it, that was stupid. And you got all of these things, and it's just showing like his youth, like Ralphie said, he's just showing he's young, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, like you said, we ain't no baby. The Lions organization, not babysitters, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure, Brad Holmes is probably feels more
Man,
pressure than anybody.
I
You
can't
know what I'm
keep
saying?
giving you the young excuse though when you're not the only one coming to the league at 21 years old
Of
or
course,
22.
of
They all
course.
they all come into the league at 21,
Look at Drake.
22,
Look at
23
Drake
years
May,
old.
playing good. Look at Bo Nix, Drake. These guys are Caleb Williams. You know what I'm saying? Just guys that first year players have already handled themselves like professionals. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, like you said, draft time come around. Receiver is always a position of need. So, and then I was really upset we got rid of Isaiah Williams anyway. I thought Isaiah Williams was a guy from Illinois that would stick around because he's got some Jamo traits in him. Not explosive as Jamo, but
Really small, real shifty.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Yeah,
That's the thing. He don't have the size and the strides, but Isaiah Williams is electric,
yeah.
man. And I don't know what roster he's on right now, but I thought that would be a guy that you can kind of keep around. But
I
obviously they
mean,
chose Jamo.
they may bring him back. Khalif is done. They're gonna
Yeah,
have to bring somebody back. They need somebody else on the perimeter with some juice, definitely. Outside of
yeah,
JMO, because outside of JMO, there's nobody else that's really capable of making plays downfield, stretching the defense vertically, horizontally for that matter. Isaiah Williams was a nice gadget piece. That's
yeah,
why I was kind of surprised they let him go too. I mean, it came out to be a numbers move anyway,
yeah,
but he was a guy that, okay, you can give him some end arounds, you can give him some quick screens, you can give him a quick slant here and there, you can line him up in the backfield, give him some tosses. He's just a very shifty, explosive player that's very good after the catch. That's also
hmm,
something they need right now. But this is a team now, man. You might have to ask the question because you brought it up. You felt like down the stretch, the offense may have to carry this football team.
hmm.
Do you start looking at the offense and start saying, you know what, man, the balance is out. Maybe we do need to go out there and get another offensive lineman down the stretch, get another wide receiver, a speedy, explosive type of wide receiver. You're not going to be able to fully get him entrenched in the playbook at this point in time in the season, but you can bring a guy in and give him a package of 10 plays,
Yeah. Well, I
10
think Tim
plays out of
Patrick.
five formations and go from there. But they
Yeah,
may need to get more explosive down
yeah,
the stretch, man, because heading into the playoffs, dudes don't get better in the playoffs. Like you talking about the intensity is riled up a good 4 or 5 notches in the playoffs. Everybody's playing harder, everybody's hitting harder, everybody's running faster. Nobody's out there loafing because nobody wants to be caught on camera loafing in the playoff game.
yeah,
The intensity is crazy. So you're talking about bringing back a bunch of hurt guys in the playoffs too, and that goes back to what you were saying about that bye. That bye is massive, not because we feel like this team can't go win on the road,
hmm,
because they can.
yeah.
It's about getting that extra week and getting people healthy for that divisional round.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lauren
Oh,
got it. Lauren said he's with the
Yolo said
Bengals now.
Bengal now. That thanks Lauren for that. Yep. See, they picked him up right away. He ain't a guy that's gonna be out on the practice squad. I knew somebody was gonna pick him up real quick. Yeah, just as you said. But the only thing that does I do like is Tim Patrick, man. Tim Patrick getting more involved every week, man. And he's a guy that he was the missing piece. Think about it, because we had Josh Reynolds last year. I felt that filled that role, and Jared Goff was super confident. He had confidence in Josh Reynolds. You know what I'm saying? He knew that he'd throw it his way, he'd catch the ball most likely. But now Tim Patrick's turning into that guy. I think they receiver core is all right, man. As long as Leaf Raymond was like more special, Swiss Army knife kind of guy. I think they can get by with what they got. I think Laporta's getting more acclimated. Laporta's been hurt all year. I think that he could get more healthier as the season goes on. I think he's put an asterisk by him. I think Laporta coming into Thursday's game had 28 catches, I think it was, and that he's having an off year. And I think he's gonna ratchet it up, man. The end of this season, I think he's gonna be a guy that we can count on. So, um, yeah, yep, and I agree. Tim Patrick is the guy, man. I think that I like what he brings. He blocks off the edge. He gets open. The
Definitely.
intermediate stuff, he'll get open. You know what I'm saying? He'll give you a stiff arm. I like Tim Patrick. I think that was a nice way to get him acclimated to this team. You know what I'm saying? So he's been all right. So yeah. Well, I mean, let me just ask you just the early reports. I mean, now that we moved on from this Bears game, um, I don't know. I don't feel good, and I think Lauren. Somebody already said it. Brent wanted to. Somebody already talked about the Packers, and I don't feel comfortable about this game. Much as we're saying that the Lions are a better team than the Pack. I don't know, man. I think that the Packers this week might they have to win. You know what I'm saying? But it's not going to be an easy game. I would say this. I would if you would have asked me right now how that game's going to, I think the Packers come in here and win the game. I really do. I think that's what's going to happen. It's not going to be easy to just go 12-1 in this league. It's hard, man. It is hard.
Man, I don't have no issue with Tim Patrick. I like Tim Patrick. Like I said, he's sort of like a tight end hybrid. If you look at his overall height, he's pretty slender built though, for that matter. But He's not really a separator like that, not really too fast, but he's a massive target, outstanding reach. He catches everything. He helps out in the run game. He helps a lot. I have no issue with Timmy at all. I'm just saying, like, specifically for explosive purposes. Outside of Jameer Gibbs and Jamo, Jameer Gibbs is the only consistent when it comes to him and Jamo. His impact on the team, his contribution to the team is more consistent than Jamo's on a week to week basis. Jamo's still the wild card in his offense, and it's kind of hurts that this far along into his career, he's still a wild card. Like on a week to week basis, we don't know if Jamo is going to get 4 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown, or if he's going to get 1 catch for -8 yards and one end around. You
Yeah.
know, we would like for Jamo to be a more consistent part of the offense, but it's just not happening right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
it is what it is, man. But yeah, we can move off of this game, man. And before it gets too late, we can jump into some of these other games around the league, man, betting wise. So I
Yeah.
think this probably is the game of the weekend.
Yep.
Eagles at Baltimore Ravens. Ravens laying minus, no, actually Eagles laying -2.5. I mean +2.5 on the road at Baltimore. This here is a game that is weird because you look at the Baltimore Ravens field goal kicking situation right now. Tucker's been up and down all season. He's been inconsistent. The run game has been kind of hit or miss. Not Baltimore, but the Philadelphia Eagles defense secondary has been locked down the past few weeks. So that's something that doesn't bode well, I think, for Lamar Jackson and his receiving core. Flowers has been pretty good as of late. Deontay Thompson, is it Thompson or Deontay Williams, the receiver they drafted, not drafted, the receiver they traded
From
for the
Carolina.
Carolina Panthers,
Yeah.
yeah,
Deontay
Deontay
Johnson.
Thompson,
Johnson.
Johnson, yeah,
Yeah.
he has had zero impact
Yeah.
in 6 games over there. They believe they can depend on Derrick Henry. I think that this matchup here is going to come down to if Baltimore can enforce their will, inflict their will on that Philadelphia Eagles defensive front, which has a lot of size in the middle of it. The linebacking core, for the most part, has been kind of hit or miss as well. Can they match up with Derrick Henry at the next level? Because passing wise, I don't think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be able to throw the football at all
Yeah.
against the Eagles in this game. I think it's going to have to come down to the run game for the Baltimore Ravens versus the run game for the Philadelphia Eagles. As much as it hurts me to say this, I think I trust the Eagles a little bit more right now, passing the ball, because
Hmm.
the Baltimore Ravens secondary can be thrown on. You also can run the ball on Baltimore. So, with that being said, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles in this situation, and I'm going to take the Eagles to cover that 2.5. Meaning, I do think the Eagles can win by a field goal plus. What do you think?
Yeah, yep. I agree. Lockstep with you. Yeah, I'm done with the Ravens, man. I don't know. I don't see. They get all this cachet every year, and they're probably this is probably the worst team they didn't had in the last 3 or 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Especially defensively. Yeah, I'm all in on the Eagles right now. I think the Eagles will go in there and win big time. Probably more than 3 points in my opinion. Lamar would have to show this would be a big game. If they win this game and Lamar takes control, and I think he's got a ridiculous good record against the NFC as a whole in his career. You know what I'm saying? This game is in Baltimore. And I love King Henry. I do. But that's about it, man, that they got. Zay Flowers is a guy that has made some spot plays. Rashawn Bateman. They just nothing really special. Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrew. It seemed like they got way too much talent, and it doesn't come down. It always comes down to Lamar Jackson having to score himself or something like that to win. And it just seemed like they just forget about all these other guys. It just didn't happen time and time again with the Ravens. And then their defense just gives up a lot of passing yards. And I think that the Eagles got the better team, man. I really do. Devonta Smith, I think he's a little bit banged up. I don't know if he's going to play. He is on the injury report this week. AJ Brown, one of my favorite receivers. I'm just looking at the defensive secondary. of the Eagles. Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Gardner Johnson, Reed Blankenship, one of my favorite players. N'Kobe Dean, a guy that they were talking about. He was like not a non-factor in the NFL, but he's come on. Zach Bond, at linebacker, has been great. Excuse me as well. Sorry, I can't get rid of this cough. Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter's coming on. I really like this team, man. Jordan Davis on defense. They got a bunch of young guys that look like they're finally hitting their stride. I think the Eagles on a collision course to play the Lions in the playoffs, but I think they separate themselves again from Baltimore. I do see they will win the game outright to me, and I think it's going to be an under game, though. I do. I could see 21-13 or something like that. It's gonna be a low scoring game. I think the weather could be a factor a little bit. Saquon Barkley, low key MVP candidate. He's been great too for the Eagles. So I'm taking Buffalo. I'm taking Philly.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I agree. You and I lockstep together on this. Just looking at how bad this Ravens secondary has been against the pass this season is amazing. That's the key thing. Now, I did say like overall rushing the ball, they've done a pretty good job, but I think it's misleading because teams have had so much success throwing the football on Baltimore that teams elect pretty much not to run the ball on Baltimore. But I do think the Philadelphia Eagles, with that offensive line that they've got, which is probably 1A or 1B with the Detroit Lions, maybe not right now, considering some of the injuries we've had, but that Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is one of the 2 or 3 best in all of football. And they do a whole lot for Saquon Barkley and opening up holes for him. And once he gets to the second level, we already know Saquon can get you 60, he can get you 70, he can get you 80. I just think it's a bad matchup for the Baltimore Ravens right now, even though I'm rooting for Baltimore. Tough as hell to handle those Philadelphia Eagles, but I mean those Eagles. But I agree. I think it's going to be an under game as well, and I will definitely take the Philadelphia Eagles to go ahead and cover that right there, that 2.5. So let's go on to this next game. We got the San Francisco 49ers visiting the Buffalo Bills. Damn near a touchdown.
Yeah.
Actually, it pretty much is. So they got Buffalo needing to win by a touchdown, full touchdown. I think this is very well possible. San Francisco is not very good right now.
Hmm.
Purdy's beat up to hell.
Yeah.
You're looking at the injuries they have on defense. You're looking at the Debo Samuel issues they've been having. Ayuk's been out for a few weeks. He's not coming back. The offensive line in general has been hurt this season off and on. Visiting Buffalo right now, Josh Allen is pretty hot. Question is this: do the Buffalo Bills have a letdown after that Kansas City Chiefs win a week ago?
Excuse me. Yeah.
I don't think they will. I think the
Hmm.
Buffalo Bills, they've had off regular season success against the Kansas City Chiefs. Their issue with Kansas City has been being able to get that monkey off their backs in the playoffs. They haven't been able to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. But what version of the Buffalo Bills do we get today? Not today, but what version of the Buffalo Bills do we get Sunday? Is this team feeling themselves because they gave the Kansas City Chiefs their first loss? Or is this team focused like, hey, this is our opportunity right now? Kansas City, they're still Kansas City, but we're better than them this year. This is our time. We're going to get there. I think the Buffalo Bills win this game outright. I think they cover the 6 points. I'm going to take the over, though. Something about this game to me feels like it's just going to go over that 44.5. But I do think Buffalo will win this game and they'll cover that 6 points.
Yeah, yep, I totally agree. As far as Buffalo, we lockstep again, man. Because I don't think that the quarterback matchup too much of a mismatch to me. I believe in Josh Allen, man. I think this is Buffalo's year to get some stuff done, especially in that conference. I like Buffalo. Obviously, I like them to win the game. Take the 6 points as well. I do think it's gonna be under though. I think the weather's going to be a factor in Buffalo, which it totally plays into their hands. To really just take care of the football, run the football. I've never been. This is why I believe in Buffalo. I never believed that running game could be the talking point, or you know what I'm saying. Now I really do believe they James Cook has been phenomenal, man. I just think that their whole team has just really bought into like the longevity of the coaching staff. McDermott was a guy I think we both was kind of saying he was like on the hot seat, but man,
Yeah.
he's really turned that team back together again.
I think
And,
this is the most balanced we've seen his weapons also
yep,
with
yep.
Amari Cooper, and even
Oh
though
man,
Keon Coleman was, when he's been out there on the field, he's been pretty good. But he's a rookie.
yep,
Rookies tend to start breaking down around week 11, 10,
yeah,
12. They're not used to playing that many games to that
yep,
level of intensity. But I like Cooper. I
yep.
like Keon Coleman.
Shakir.
Yeah. Like
Oh man, yep.
this is the most balanced his weapons have been since he's been there in Buffalo, talent wise. Even though Dalton Knox is okay, but
Hmm.
I prefer Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman, and Shakir over
Hmm.
what he's had in the past, even with Stephon Diggs. So and then everybody
Yeah,
seems to know their role too. Josh
yeah.
seems to be more comfortable without Stephon Diggs being there also.
Yep, the defense, man. What's the guy from Baylor who I wanted? Tyrell
Oh,
Bernard.
Terrell Bernard,
Been
yeah.
phenomenal, man. You know what I'm saying? They've been good. What's the defensive tackle? Ed Oliver. He's been a mainstay. Ed Oliver can ball, man. You know what I'm saying? They get a really good team. They really do. So yeah. Having said that, I think the Niners. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say they checked out, but when you don't have your starting quarterback, if he's like not healthy this time of year, you're cooked, man. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what the 49ers are, and then to play such good a ball they've played the last 4 or 5 years, man. Just being there constantly, great roster turnover,
It
good
wears down the
coaching,
coaching
it
staff. It
wears
wears down the
down, man.
players.
Yes, that's why it's important that the window that the Lions are in, they're in that San Francisco Philly window right now. I think the Lions are kind of replacing San Fran in that window. Philly, I think this is Philly
And
last
Dallas.
hurrah. Yep. You know what I'm
We
saying?
replacing
So
Dallas too. Yeah.
it's hard, man. It's hard to keep going. They got to replenish a lot on that team. But like I said, we totally agree. I just think it's going to be under instead of the over on this one. So
Yeah. All right. So our final game, Minnesota Vikings hosting the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals laying 3.5 on the road. You're looking at an over under 45. Weird game, man. To me, going through the
mhm.
entire slate of games earlier this morning when I got up. To me, this is the weirdest game. It
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me if Arizona won this game outright and covered that 3.5. Arizona's very scrappy defensively.
Hmm.
They run a lot of 4-3 sets. They try to keep everything in front of them underneath. They pride themselves on stopping the run, which is typically, if you look at most young teams like that are void of high end talent defensively, they try to stop the run as much as possible. That's the key thing
Hmm.
that they're on right now. Even though they're only 17th in the league, that's better than being 27th. They're giving up right now 4.3 yards per carry, which isn't bad at all. But Arizona's just pretty much right in the middle of the pack for the most part. They have managed to win a decent amount of one possession games, which is great for a
Yeah.
young football team to know that you can win games by one possession, 1.2 points like that. But these are also games that could have easily went the other way. And one
Yeah.
thing I will say about them offensively is that they're kind of like chugging along offensively with the running game and with the passing game with Trey McBride, the tight end out there. But they've been kind of just surviving offensively without Marvin Harrison Jr. really having that big of an impact at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he starts to develop down the stretch and beginnings to have a better rapport with Kyler Murray, if he
Yeah.
can start catching the ball also more consistently, he's an added weapon down the stretch that could put Arizona over the top, because right now they already were one game up on Frisco. They won earlier in the season. They
Yeah.
beat the Rams back in week 2, if I'm not mistaken. So the Cardinals kind of have their destiny in their own hands. I'm gonna go against the grain here. I don't trust Darnold as far as I can throw him. I think the Cardinals have the better quarterback in this matchup. I think the Cardinals also have the skill set at quarterback with the wide receivers and the tight end to take advantage of a lot of those simulated blitzes that Brian Flores likes to run. Ever since
Hmm.
Detroit solved them a few weeks ago, they haven't really been the same defensively. They also haven't played too many dynamic offenses. They played Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. They played, of course, they played Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, who haven't been able to score over 20 points, but
They
once
played
the
Houston
past,
too,
yeah,
smashed
they
them.
played, yep, they played Houston as well. But
Yeah.
overall, the Vikings haven't played too many dominant offenses. We're the best offense they played so far this season, and they haven't
Mhm.
played a quarterback as dynamic as him and Kyler Murray with the set of skills position players he has. So I'm gonna go
Mm.
against the grain. I'm gonna take Arizona to win this game outright on the road.
Mhm.
I wouldn't take the 3.5. I do think Arizona probably would win by a field goal. Could it go 4 or 5 points? Is possible. I think Arizona wins this game outright, but 3.5. And it sucks, man, because as a better, you could take Minnesota to
Mhm.
cover those points. Be looking at, okay, what if they did lose by them three?
Mhm.
That kills all the money right there. So what do you think about it? Because I'm still kind of on the fence. I do think Arizona will win this game outright, but I don't think they'll win by more than 3.5.
Yeah, good cry. I'm flip flop from you Walt, on this one. I think Minnesota will win the game. I think it won't be by 3.5 though. I think it'll be like a 1 point game or 2 point. I think Minnesota generally has been playing a lot of close games. Namely last week with the Bears. It come down to the final possession, field goal. I don't. I think Vikings win, but I think it's going to be by 2, by less than 3. That type of thing. I don't. I'm agree with you. I don't trust Darn at all. Only thing, Arizona was the team I had to kind of be a dark horse this year, and I think that division, the NFC West, going to come down. I think the last week of the season, even the Cardinals can lose this game and still win the division. That's how I look at it. But I think they got to play the Rams before the season's over. So we'll see how that turns out. But I trust Minnesota's weapons more, man. Aaron Jones has been. I even wrote it down. He's got over 1,000 scrimmage yards so far this season. He's been really good. You know how I feel about Jordan Addison. Him and Jefferson are a bear. Excuse me, are a bear to deal with, man. You got Darnold, 2,700 yards, 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He's damn near got identical numbers to Jared Goff. I think he's got a little bit more passing yards than Jared Goff for the season. But to get down to it, I just trust their offense more than I trust Arizona. That's what it comes. And probably, and you hit the nail on the head with Marvin Harrison. If he was more of an impact, I probably would switch it and and pick Arizona. But it's just he's a big question mark, man. You know what I'm saying? And Kyler Murray has been playing good this year. I like the Cardinals, but I think Minnesota's going to win this game at home. If it was in Arizona, I probably would pick the Cardinals. But and I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be over the 45, but I'm going to say Minnesota wins, but don't cover. I hope it's the other way around, though. I'm hopeful. I hope Arizona beat them, but I don't think they will. Just like the Ravens. I hope the Ravens beat the Eagles, man, but I don't think that's going to happen either.
Yeah, I've noticed one thing about these Vikings games this season. They've been turnover riddled. Either
Yeah.
Darnold turning the ball over multiple times, paired with the opponent turning the ball over multiple times against Brian Flores' defense. If Arizona doesn't turn the ball over, I think they win this game because Kyler
Yeah.
Murray's done a pretty good job this season of protecting the football. They have had a handful of fumbles, but typically when teams lose to Minnesota, it's because they keep giving Darnold and that offense multiple possessions.
Yeah.
So I think if you take the slow and steady wins the race approach, run the ball on Minnesota, get the play action going, get Kyler Murray out there running. You want to pretty much stretch that defense horizontally as much as you can and start opening up the middle of the field. I love Trey McBride, the tight end for Arizona. I was real high on him a couple years coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. He
And
was.
I just think that this is a matchup where, okay, offensively, Minnesota, y'all going up against an opposing offense that can score. They've got a dynamic quarterback who can get out and space and move and pick up first downs with his feet. And Kyler can also push the ball downfield to every blade of grass. So that's one big reason. Well, that's a few big reasons, but I also agree. I think it's going to be over. simply because I just have a feeling that this game is going to be riddled with a bunch of big plays.
Yep, shootout type. Yep, yep.
Yep,
Totally
could be
agree.
even on special teams and defense. So, and then Minnesota have gotten a handful of defensive touchdowns as well that has helped out their record. It's just I'm not as high on Minnesota as a lot of people are. I just think that ultimately, when your quarterback is who he is and routinely turns the ball over, and if you had a better option at quarterback, I'm pretty sure O'Connell would have went to it by now. They
Mhm.
went out and signed what's his
Daniel
name?
Jones.
Daniel Jones. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know what that's supposed to necessarily mean, but
yeah, yeah, yep.
yeah,
And then
it's
too,
just yep, go
they
ahead.
got no. I was just gonna say. Well, sorry, to cut you off. They got three guys, man, in the sack column, man, with Minnesota. Van Ginkel's got 9 sacks.
Yep.
Jonathan Grenard's got 9 sacks. I think Pat Jones the second's got 7 sacks. So that's 23 sacks on three guys, man. So they can get to the quarterback.
Oh
And
yeah.
and I think that Arizona's gonna have some problems kind of detaining those guys. So it'll be a good
Yeah, the
game.
thing is, how much do you blitz Kyler though?
That's true. That's true. And he's gonna take
Because
advantage
Kyler
of
will Kyler will take off like a toddler with a bottle of juice, boy.
that. Yeah,
That-
yeah.
them little feet get
The
them
little feet be
moving.
moving, don't he? Yep. The little feet be moving.
Yeah. So man, it was great having everybody join us for another Saturday morning. Turns out to be another hour and 20 plus minute show, man. You know, we love discussing football, Lions football with y'all every single morning on Saturdays.
Mhm.
Lamar joined in and said, I'm here.
Hey, what's up, Lamar?
No,
Happy
this man,
holidays.
he not a morning person, man. He
Mhm.
not a morning person. I get it. But yeah, like I said, it's been great having everybody on for another Saturday morning. You know, we love these Saturday morning shows. This was one of those rare Saturday mornings where Lions played a few days ago, not playing on Sunday, not playing on Saturday. So we get to sit back and we get to talk a little bit more about the rest of the NFL and pretty much open up a discussion for everybody in regards to anything else you guys want to talk about. So anything you want to say before we get up out of here?
No, not too much. Like you say, Lions fans is this. The situation this with our team. I think that the injuries. You come to a point in the season where injuries do affect your team. And I think that the Lions right now, we're at a crossroads right now. But I think the only good thing about it is we could get Anzalone back, which could really help out the linebacking core by the end of the season. Not now. I think we're so far. We got 11 wins right now, which is good that we stack those wins because if we drop one or two, depending on who it is we lose to, I think we could still get that number one seed. That's what I'm focused. I'm getting division is the first check mark I want to check out the box. And then I think if we win Thursday, that seals that division talk. But you want to get the number one seed too for the NFC. It'll be kind of disappointment, right? If they don't get the number one seed. I mean, if Philly somehow leapfrogs them or somehow Minnesota leapfrog, you know what I'm saying? It's sort of like then we kind of left standing there with all these wins with no substance to it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I just believe that the Lions offense is going to carry us these next couple games that we need to get done. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
I also think, and I want to add just one more thing with Baltimore playing the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend. I wonder do Eagles fans kind of view it the same way? Like, okay, you know what, down the stretch, if we're going to lose any games, we need to lose the Baltimore game.
Mhm.
Sort of how we view the Buffalo game. Like, if we're going to
Yeah.
lose any of these games down the stretch, we don't want it to be the Green Bay. We don't want it to be the Chicago, and we don't want it to be to Minnesota, and
Hmm.
we don't want it to be the San Francisco either. You know,
Right. Right.
so it's a situation where if the Eagles can afford to drop a game, it would be this weekend to Baltimore.
Yeah.
But then they don't want to be sitting at 3 losses either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the benefit of it is that, that third loss did come to an AFC team. So hell, we got a whole lot of football to go, man.
Yeah.
Do it seem like, man, dude, 13 weeks, that's quick?
Yeah, the season quick.
13
Well,
weeks.
yep, we got 5 games to go, man. Playoffs is ending quick. In college football, last week of the season, regular season. Michigan, Ohio State coming up here in about 40 minutes. Yeah, it's the time flies. I mean, it's fly for us because we working constantly with the draft and just constantly the season don't stop. Like the last 3 years we've been working into the playoffs. Obviously, being Lions content creators because usually this time, like our first couple years we was doing this show, it was like
Yeah.
draft. We were talking draft around Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like a rash of injuries. It is light at the end of the tunnel. I'm looking forward to the ten days off after this Green Bay game. To answer Lauren's question, right now I don't feel comfortable about the Packers game. I don't, man. I don't. I just think that I think Green Bay comes in here and wins, man. Just because the rivalry is real between these two teams, and I think they probably feel like you know we came in there and kind of disrespect them, slapped them around a little bit, and I think that um, if we don't get our linebacker situation corrected, teams are good, man. Teams are going to exploit it, and we'll see. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how Green Bay attacks our defense now. You know what I'm saying? Now that we got another guy gone. So, but I do like the pressure. I do like. I think our defensive line can get some pressure on their offensive line. I think that's going to be a story of the game. If we can get to Jordan Love and don't let them get comfortable and let them sit there and throw the ball just at will, I think we'll be okay. You know what I mean? But right now, early returns, I'm gonna say Packers win the game right now. So we'll see. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. I can't give a concrete answer right now. Me myself. Just it's you talking about okay, since Thursday, by the time we play next Thursday, you talking about 6 full days, 6.5 days of rest. We have no idea what the injury report is going to look like by next Wednesday. I'm pretty sure me and this man to be back next Wednesday night, for that matter, to go ahead and preview the game or whatnot. But we will be back with everybody by Wednesday to go ahead and break things down because that game, man, is I,
Huge.
I don't think it's a must win for us because I think you want to get to those 12. You want to sweep Green Bay, get to 12 wins, and pretty much lock yourself into the playoffs. What seed you don't know, but you want to at least get to 12 and lock yourself in. Green Bay, it's a must win for them because they want to keep pace with us. They want to keep pace with everybody else in the NFC in regards to the wild card as well. And it's important to Green Bay because, like you said, they want to prove to themselves they can beat us. It's going to feel bad for Green Bay to drop two to us, especially if they're looking at how beat up we are right now for them to come here and drop another game to us. So it's a must win for both teams. It's going to be a huge matchup next Thursday. I think looking at the injury list right now, the guys we have on there, hopefully we can get about three of them back, maybe four. That could be wishful thinking considering some of the injuries these guys are suffering. But yeah, I mean, as of right now, Lauren, to give you a straight up question, I really don't know. I really don't know right now, but we will be back Thursday. No, we'll be back next Wednesday
Wednesday.
to give everybody a breakdown of this game coming up and what we think is how it's going to transpire. So, till next time, everybody enjoy your Saturday. One pride.